I just tracked my mileage for the month. We're at June 25th. My goal for the month of June 2019 is 100 miles that I clock of running time. I'm at 93 miles. I have 7 more to go. It's the 25th of the month. I should, I dare say, reach my goal of 100 miles. It's similar to the goal that I work with my clients on of getting 100 podcast interviews under their belt within a specific period of time. Now, as I set my goal of 100 miles, I had to be realistic. I couldn't say, oh, I'm going to get 100 miles in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. That's not realistic. But to spread it out over a period of a month, the average mileage I needed to get was 3.3 miles every single day. There were some days that I did 5 miles. Some days I did, like yesterday, I did 7 miles. I split it up where I did 4 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, and I got 7 miles under my belt. That created the result of 93 miles by the 25th of the month. I still have 5 days to go, and I still have 7 miles to go. Now is not the time to stop. It's the same when you get podcast interviews. When somebody says, okay, I've never gotten a podcast interview before, but I want to get 100 episodes in a month. That's not realistic for most people. For most people, what would be realistic is to lay your foundation, and your foundation has to do with your information on your website that is visitor ready, which means, do you have a way for people to get on your list? It doesn't mean you have to have a giveaway. In many cases, people want to get on your list just to get updates of what you're doing. Do you have your social media channels set up? And by set up, it's just, are they ready? Do you use Facebook? Do you use Twitter? Do you use LinkedIn? Are those the channels that your market also uses? And once you have that established, then setting realistic goals of what you're going to do to get 100 podcast interviews. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment what 100 interviews would do for you. Imagine doing 100 different shows, how many millions of people you could potentially reach with your message. What I really want to emphasize is podcast shows are not the time to be a blatant salesperson. Podcast shows are not the time to say, buy my thing. What podcast shows are really about is creating value through the information you provide, through the stories that you tell. It's about educating people. It's not about a hard sell. When you do your job right of educating people and creating value, they will automatically go look at your website. They'll go look at your Amazon page when you're an author. They'll look at your social media channels. And oftentimes while they're listening to you or watching you on a podcast show. In order to get 100 shows, you have to have systems in place. Here's a very simple process, a very simple system that you can put in place that should you do this every single day. And like with my running, I was consistent day after day after day. I would run for 6 days, take a day off and do something else. But I was consistent every single day. You have to be consistent with your podcast shows in order to get the 100 shows. What you do is, first of all, you determine what's your expertise? And I love working with bona fide experts, with people who really understand their expertise. And most of them are in their life's work. For example, Lana Nelson, who wrote the book, The Food Codes, she's definitely in her life's work. Gwen Fox, who's a fine artist who does high-end retreats for artists who want to build a business around their art. She's a bona fide expert. She's in her life's work. I love when I work with people like that because they're very clear on the fact what they talk about has to do with their life's work and impacting other people around their life's work. And so once you determine that, you look for shows that will be a match for your message. Really important to remember that. You want to even write that down. My message should be a match, or my market should be a match for my message. My market should be a match for my message. The shows that I get on should be a match for my message. Once you determine that, then you start looking for the shows. And in my program, the 100 Club, I teach my clients step by step how to find those opportunities. There's dozens actually get on shows that are very specific to your market. Once you find the shows, then you outreach to the host. Keep your outreach simple. Just like I'm going to keep this video short, you want to keep your initial message short. Really spark the interest of the host. And if they say, yes, we'd like to see your information, then you can send them your information Then you can send them your expert one sheet. Then you can send them links to other shows you've been on. But don't send that right out the gate, and keep it personal. Keep it real. Keep it human. You're talking to another human being. Once they say, yes, we want you on the show, you usually schedule the show. You schedule, it might be a pre-recorded show. It might be live. You need to find out which one it is. You also need to find out, is this going to be on video or is it going to be audio only? Because that can make a huge difference. You want to make sure that your backdrop, what people are seeing, looks good. You don't want to have a bunch of clutter behind you. Then you deliver the show, and then you market the show. And what I mean by market the show is you let your community know about it. If you have an email distribution list, you send the link to your list. You post it on Facebook, you post it on Twitter, you post it on Instagram, you post it on LinkedIn, wherever your market happens to be. So it's all about systems. If you want 100 shows, you can get 100 shows. I encourage you to check out my 100 Club, which the whole point of the 100 Club is working with bona fide experts. I'm not looking to work with people who haven't figured out what they want to do when they grow up. I'm looking for bona fide experts who want massive visibility. And you want to do it in the shortest time frame possible, and you have a very important message to share with the market. This is Kathleen Gage encouraging you. Visit powerupforprofits.com. That's powerupforprofits.com/bootcamp to find out more about the 100 Club. I limit it to 12 people and 12 people only because we want to keep it intimate. We want it to be a real hands-on experience for the people involved. This is a true virtual mastermind. This is not just me being a talking head. This is a true virtual mastermind. And for those of you who may not be ready to take that leap yet, why not check out my free checklist and training video that gives you more information about how to get on podcast shows and what you need to do. Just go to powerupforprofits.com/checklist. powerupforprofits.com/checklist. I'll put the links below for both of those, the links below in the description of the YouTube video. I encourage you, go out, gain massive visibility. If you've got something important that's going to change people's lives, you need to go out in a big way and get your message out so you can impact the people you're here to impact. Have a great day and be visible.